Welcome everyone. This is the Battle Creek City Election Commission for Thursday, July 5th, 2022. We'll call the meeting to order. Oh, I'm sorry, July 7th. I have the wrong date on my agenda. I'll have to fix that. So it's July 7th. We do have a quorum. The city assessor, Aaron Powers, is here, myself as city clerk. Our city attorney, Jill Steele, was not able to attend the meeting, but with only a 3-member panel, we do have a quorum present. So the first order of business will be the approval of the minutes from our March 30, 2022 Election Commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 30, 2022 Election Commission meeting.
Okay, and I support that motion. Did you have any comments or concerns with the minutes?
No.
Okay, all in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and motion is approved. So the next item on the agenda is the appointment of our election inspectors for the August 2nd, 2022 primary election. We anticipate needing 120 precinct inspectors for our 21 precincts. Our AV counting board, it's anticipated that we need 20 inspectors for the AV counting board because they will be processing AV ballots for all 21 precincts. And then the receiving board at the end of the night, it's anticipated that we will need 10 receiving board members. We have done preliminary assignments of all of the election inspectors for each precinct, ensuring that there is at least one Democrat and one Republican in each precinct, serving in each precinct. It's not a perfect balance, but the law does require at least one, and for us to try to do a balance. Based upon that, provided that everybody does come to the 2-year certification training, that is what we expect to need to staff the election on that day. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint the election inspectors for the August 2nd, 2022 primary election.
And I'll support that motion. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? Oh, okay. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. So the next item we're going to do is the public accuracy test. The public accuracy test is done to ensure that the tabulator, along with the programming, will read the ballots correctly and give the results that we are testing for. So we have what's called a test deck. It is a list of every ballot and how each ballot is marked. And then this would be our test deck ballots. Some of the ballots are marked so that when they go into the tabulator, it is testing to make sure that it will reject a ballot because of a specific error or not. So as we go through, I'll kind of say what the error is that we're looking for. But we have 33 ballots that we're going to test today. So the first one is an overvote in the Democratic. Nope, that's the wrong one. The first one is an overvote in both the Democratic column and in the proposals. So because it's a primary election, we have to make sure that people stay either in one party or the other. They cannot cross over parties. So because this is an overvote, it will be rejected. And then the tabulator will read it. It will give the voter an option to either cast that ballot or have it returned to them so they can get a new ballot. In this instance, because we're testing, we're going to cast that ballot because we want it to count the ballot and ensure that it will not count overvotes. So the second ballot is overvote in the Republican column and the proposals. And the same again, when there's an error, we are going to cast it because we need it counted and we want to ensure that the tabulator does not count all of those overvotes. So this ballot here is called a stray marks ballot. The tabulator has an I in it, and it reads anything that falls in these columns, but it's also programmed to know that this is the end of these columns, and the same on the back. So it wants to make sure that we're not reading anything in those columns. The next one is a blank ballot. Some people choose not to vote for any candidates or proposals, but they want to keep their voting history intact, so they may submit a blank ballot. But we want to make sure that it doesn't pick up anything off the ballot. So again, we'll cast that because we want it in our totals. So this next ballot is marked in the Democratic column, and it is overvoted for the proposals. So when it does its count, it will only account for the votes for legitimate where it hasn't overvoted. So it won't count any proposals with this one. And then this one here is overvote and then properly voted there in the proposals. So what the tabulator is telling me is that there's overvotes, and do we want to cast it or do we want it returned? In this instance, again, we're casting them. This again has overvotes here and right back here. So the next ballot is where we have cast votes in the Republican column, 1 vote for each candidate, and then it overvoted in the proposal section, and here is the delegate count for the Republican totals. So this one will also cause an error. This one, again, is overvoted in the Republican column, overvoted in the first proposal, and correctly voted in the second 2 proposals. So it will cause an error. So those 2 that I just did, because the proposal section was voted properly in the last 2 proposals, it will give 1 vote to each of them. But then for this one here, it was overvoted in the first one, but now we want to vote it properly in the second one. So this next ballot, this is the one that tests for crossover votes. In a primary, you are limited to either vote Republican or Democrat. If you vote just one item in the other column from what your major choice is, it will not count it. So it is going to test to make sure that it does not allow crossover votes. Okay, so it will reject this one also. And that is actually our last ballot that has errors on it that the tabulator needs to read. So the rest are all voted properly. So this one is voted properly, no for the proposals, and it selects 1 candidate for each of the other races in the Democratic column. And then the next ballot, it does the write-in candidates. Because there's only 1 candidate for each race, then it automatically goes to the write-in when we do the next testing. This one has votes for the Republican candidates. So when we do our testing, each candidate has to have a different total. So for this instance, for the gubernatorial Republican side, 1 candidate will have 6 votes, another will have 5, the next 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Okay? And that's what, so this one is marked with the gubernatorial candidate, but then the write-in here, and then another one for this because there is another candidate running against them. And this still has that first candidate for governor, and then the second candidate for state senator. So this will be the 6th ballot with the first candidate for governor selected, but down here it now goes to the write-in candidate. And then the other ones are unmarked because they've already been tallied or marked sufficiently to create the number. I'm going to go shut that door.
I can get it.
Okay, and this one only has the second candidate marked again because ultimately that candidate will have 5 votes. So we'll do that just a few more times so that they get 5 votes. And when we do these ballots, it does say ballot successfully cast on the screen so that before the voter walks away, they know that their ballot was successfully cast. So now we've moved down to the third candidate, and that candidate will require 4 votes. So this next ballot moves down to the 4th candidate, and that candidate will have 3 vote totals. So the next ballot will move down to the last candidate, and that candidate will end up with 2 votes because we have 2 ballots marked with his oval filled. And then we always have to test to make sure that it will collect a vote for a write-in candidate. So this is the write-in candidate for the Republican race. And then the last ballot that we test is from another precinct. So I'm working on precinct 7. This is from another precinct. And the reason we do that is the city of Battle Creek, everybody has to do it, but the city of Battle Creek has several precincts in singular polling locations. So we have 4 precincts in one location, we have 3 in another, and then many of our polling locations throughout the city have 2 precincts. And we do that because if a voter votes their ballot, say they're from precinct 7, and they go and they see, ooh, my voting booth is much closer to that tabulator, so they go and put it in that tabulator, and that's for tabulator or precinct 13. We want to make sure that it rejects the precinct 7 ballot. So it will kick it right back out, and then we would direct the voter back over to their proper precinct tabulator. So in this case, it will reject this. This is a ballot that I cannot force through. We could hit cast all day, and it will not take it back. It doesn't even give me that option because we don't want a ballot from another precinct to count on this precinct tabulator. Does that make sense? Okay. So then what we do, we were supposed to run 33 ballots, and on my screen it says that I've run 33 ballots. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and close the polls for this. And it does require a security code to close the polls. And it asks, are you sure you want to? It asks that because we want to make sure that if we delivered any absentee ballots to the precinct, that they have also tallied all of them, and that they've checked the auxiliary bin in the back of the machine to make sure nobody has put a ballot in there. Okay? So we just say yes. So what it will do now, it's going to go ahead and print a totals tape. And then I will have Aaron check the totals tape.
To the final sheet.
Yep, so it's that one row there.
And Vicki, if someone were to vote a ballot from another jurisdiction, that would also be rejected. You could not cast it,
It
correct?
would not cast it. The programming is very specific to the ballot. So the ballots have all of these little dots and stuff all over them, and then at the bottom. And that is how the tabulator knows that that ballot either does or does not belong in the tabulator, or how the programming knows it. Really long.
Yeah.
So then after we do our testing, we are required to secure all of the ballots that we've used for testing. So we put them in a metal case downstairs with seals on it. We have to record the seals, and then we have to report to the county each tabulator, serial number, programming number, and that they were locked in a box with a seal on it. And we have to give them that seal number. So in addition to being locked in the metal case, they're also locked in a room that the clerk staff has the key to. Does anybody have any questions about it? Yes, Mary? You can come on up. Yep, they want you at the speaker, that way we can record you.
My name is Mary Bourgeois. I live in Battle Creek. My question pertains to the write-in ballots. So all the voted ballots go into a bin?
Yes.
Then are the poll workers to go through manually and pull? Okay.
So inside this machine, I'll turn it a little so everybody can see it. And it does have our supplies in it. Our supplies will be taken out on election day. But so this right here is called the auxiliary bin, which is back here. We keep it locked. We do open it if there is a power outage or a jam in the machine. But at the front of that is another bin. And it diverts anything that has a write-in on it will divert automatically to that. So at the end of the night, the election workers would collect all the ballots, put them in a ballot bag to be brought back to the city hall. But then they will also have to open this. They do have to go through the write-ins because we want to make sure that if there is an invalid write-in, that it has not taken a vote away from a valid candidate. So that's one of the things during training that we'll show you what to do. Thank you. You're welcome.
That's it.
That's it.
Matches up.
All righty. Does anybody want to see all this? I know you guys saw it beforehand. Mary, we can show you if you want to stay after to take a look at what this is. Okay. All right. We'll open now to public comment. Does anybody have any public comment? No? Any commission comment?
No.
All right. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting then. Thank you for coming. I've never had anybody come to my public accuracy test.